Spamatron, good evening to you. How is the audio? I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. All right. Is everything else looking all right? Maverick Gaming, I am excellent. Thank you very much, Greg and Spamatron. All right. Maverick, trying to chill after having an integration snap in half on me. Ah, geez, that's a bummer. But the good part is, if it came apart and you put it back together before, you can put it back together again. And hopefully, if you learned something from your mishap, which I try to make sure anytime anything screws up on me, I make sure I log whatever went wrong so I don't do it again. Because there's one thing I hate, it's making the same mistake more than once. Okay. They call me Socks. A brief break from videos. Yes. My computer went down on me, and I actually had a mess of videos that I actually sat down last week to edit, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the day, I'm just going to edit a mess of videos, because that's how I usually do it, is kind of in batches. And, well, the computer tanked on me, so I have a lot of video material, and I'm getting ready to make more, but I can't do anything about it until I get that fixed. More of the Warthog, yes. I figured I'd do a little bit on this, and I'd put the Warthog up on the bench for a little bit and see what we can do with it. Maybe we can make some group decisions today. Greg H, so close to 4.8. Oh, geez, I haven't even been looking. Man, that's doing pretty good. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for all the support. Michael, can't wait to see them both finish. They look amazing. I just can't wait to finish something, which I have 3 projects currently, not here, they're actually on the other side of the country getting painted. So I have 3 of them that'll be coming home the next couple of weeks probably, and they should go together pretty quick, and they'll be fantastic, and I can't wait, because it's been a long time since I actually finished a project, actual integration project, so it'll be very, I think it'll be very good for my, personal morale and stuff like that. It'll be good. It'll be a good thing. Just filling in cracks. I'm doing a few things. I figured I do need to fill some cracks and stuff here. I need to do a little bit on this addition that I added up here. Yeah, just gonna fill some holes a little bit. These patches here, I might actually try to insert some sheet material, or I might even just putty those because I can't get to backside of them. So I might just kind of putty that bit in just so I can form it a little better. Because it'll be a pain in the neck to try to cut a piece of material to fit in there and then try to DevCon around it. I'm going to put some sheet material in this side, but I don't really need to here. I think I can just fill up what I need to make up the difference with a little bit of DevCon. I might putty that, I'm not sure. We'll see. I haven't decided on that. These here were because of on some models of the Rapid Strike, the pusher mechanism, the pusher box, was actually solvent welded to the opposite side. Like, you take the screws out, and you go to separate the shells, and the pusher is screwed into the bottom half, and it's glued to the top half, so you can't open it up. You have to grind away the material that it's glued to, and then separate it, and then you gotta patch some holes and go from there. Opinion on Dart Wars closing. I don't have a whole lot of opinions on Dart Wars. I tried to go a couple times, and I was very disappointed in the disinterested and just kind of the indifferent customer service they had, and I was very turned off. And so that was actually early on when I first went, and I checked back a couple of times, and just every time I went, it was like I never ever actually got onto the field. It was like I get to the front desk, and just talking to the people there was just kind of like, I'm not sure I want to give you guys money. But I've had a chance, I don't know if you saw on Facebook and Instagram, I actually got a chance to meet some of the, former employees and some of the active Dart Wars people. And so I'm hoping that we can kind of get together, because there is a few lone wolves, and then there's the Dart Wars group. I'm hoping we can kind of pull everybody together under a kind of a bigger umbrella and do some more like not business related type nerfing, just like nerfing for the sake of nerfing. But we'll see how those guys, because they kind of have their own little clique right now, so they kind of do their thing all together. But we'll kind of see how that develops. Dart Wars closing, I'm not sure what to think. Like I said, I never really had much to do with them anyway. It's not really my style, but it's never a good thing when a nerfing opportunity goes away. But we are fortunate that we do have nerfed the other arena that's on the other side of town, if you do want some indoor action. But we'll see what happens. When do you think I'll do commissions again? Boy, howdy. I'm not going to put a number there or any kind of commitment, because I've been saying for a long time that I'm going to do commissions eventually, but I can't seem to get to the point. Well, I can't get past these existing commissions right now. I have actually 2 commissions, one that actually hasn't even been officially started yet, but I've gotten really close to starting a couple times, but it keeps freaking me out. And when I do start that, then you'll understand why. And I have another one that just hasn't, actually I have 2 that haven't made it to the channel yet. One for the sake of preventing confusion, and the other because I just haven't recorded, or actually I've recorded build logs all along the way, but I haven't actually edited them. That was actually one of the series that I was going to start editing the other day, but it wasn't to be. Piddle. Okay, sorry, Michael. I am awful with pronouncing names, so I apologize. Like, my brain can look at a name and be like, okay, there you go. But when it comes time for like my mouth to say it, there's something like between my brain and my mouth that it's not happening anymore. So I will apologize in advance if I butcher your name. It's nothing personal. It's just not my thing. Also, a lot of the times it makes it hard to know if it's like, okay, is that some kind of like pop culture reference that is part of your name, or is it some kind of foreign, some kind of ethnic thing that I don't understand how those letters are supposed to be pronounced originally, so makes it extra tough for somebody in my position. RZ Rider just ordered your Jupiter. Oh, good deal. I'm really excited. I've been excited about that thing since like it was the Here Mini, and he first started talking about it like 2 years ago. So I've been kind of chomping at the bit for that to come out, and now that it's coming out, I don't have the funds to justify it at the moment. But we'll. It's definitely on my list. It's definitely on my list of things to pick up. But I've got a rather long list like that. Dart Zone Command Fire. Thoughts on the Dart Zone Command Fire for length and it's interesting. It's been kind of cool. I haven't really seen anybody else's opinion on it except for Walcomm's, and he's very enthusiastic about it. Understandably so. That's kind of right up his alley. But I don't know if it's something necessarily that would be ideal for my purposes, but it is rather clever. It's the first, actually, I think the first dart hopper of that variety that we've seen. Anything like that. So it's cool. Innovation is always cool. It's really nice to see the little guys, Dart Zone, Primetime Toys, stepping up and doing some wacky stuff that maybe Nerf isn't quite brave enough to do, or what coast you live? Jake, take no break. I don't really live near anybody else. I'm in Idaho, which is close-ish to the West Coast. Not this most recent last spring break, but last year's spring break, we were up in the area, and so I got a hold of Wallcom and said, "Hey, I'm in the area. You mind if I swing by and say hi?" And he's like, "Yes!" And so I went up and got to hang out with him for a little bit, which is super duper neat. But that's the closest I've been, besides End War, FoamCon and all that, to actually hanging out with YouTubers. If you know Mr. Heathpants, who is the of MHP15 fame, Desert Pigeon, the converting everything to shotgun, he's in Utah, and actually have gone down there a couple of times because we've been on business trips. And so, when we're heading down, I'll get a hold of him and say, "Hey, is there any Nerf stuff going on?" And he says, "No." And I said, "Well, bummer, because we're gonna be down for the weekend." And he's like, "Well, I'll get some guys together and we'll do something." And it's like, "Hey, cool." So, just kind of more casual, fun and game stuff, but. I don't think he would necessarily consider himself a YouTuber, but he is very, very, very prominent in the community and technically has a YouTube channel. So I don't see how that really. I mean, that's no different than myself, I guess. Would you consider putting a Nyx cage on this blaster? On this one, probably not. This is my Ragnarok build, and so I'm probably going to go a little hotter than Nyx. I believe is pretty much kind of HVZ type spec. Not really necessarily what I need, and I can't really justify the price tag on a Nyx right now. I've got a couple other things I want to look at instead. I am not opposed to it. If someone was like, here's this thing, put it in this, I'd be like, okay, well, but am I actively going to? Probably not. Yeah, I'm sorry, Michael. I can't apologize enough. I know what it's like to have people like not pronounce your name right. You'd be surprised how many people screw up Nathan as far as like even just like spelling it. It doesn't have that many letters, and a lot of them are the same. So it's kind of funny when you get like Nathan with an O in there or an E, and it's like, seriously? So yeah, sorry, Mike. Thoughts on the Caliburn takedown magwell? I think it's super neat. I was actually, I believe, I believe I witnessed that conversation where the idea was proposed, and then Slug and Devil's Nerf Works both kind of built the same thing at the same time, which was super neat to kind of see two different takes on the same product, basically. I think it's super neat because the Caliburn's kind of it's not big, but it's awfully long for what it is, especially if you're running a longer barrel. So it is kind of cool for people taking down, to be able to take it down for, especially travel, because I learned when I was packing up all my junk for FoamCon, just how long some blasters are compared to suitcases. So it's kind of like, yeah, that would be cool if I could cut all of mine in half and fit them into a smaller area. But no, they're again super cool innovation, and it's always nice to see Slug constantly reiterating everything about that blaster. I mean, he built it from scratch and then went through and is just constantly, like weekly, improving stuff on it, which is just super cool to see that. Please finish the Jackal. Yes, I'm sorry. It's still here. It's right there, but I just had other things in the way right now that's been kind of keeping me occupied. It's kind of an awkward point, which kind of hit me right around the FoamCon End War time period. That I didn't really get stumped, but it's like I was at a crossroads where it's like, okay, if I'm going to go this direction, I need to do this. If I'm going to go this direction, I need to do this, and it's totally different things. So I need to kind of commit on which approach I'm going to take so I can actually start progressing. Otherwise, I can do some mild body work on it, but I can't really progress a whole lot at the moment. So I apologize if the dev conning is very boring, but because if I do something that's very concentration intensive, then I ignore the chat, and then people are asking the questions over and over again. But if I do something that I can idly talk about and keep an eye on the chat, then the work itself is boring. So it's kind of a trade-off on if you guys want to see cool stuff happen or if you want to chat. So. What is the Ragnarok gonna shoot? Ragnarok is an event that I'm going to, if that's what you mean. Is it gonna shoot like FPS cap? Is that what you're saying? I think cap is 150, I think. But this is just a build that I'm making for the event specifically, just because I don't really have anything else that would be good and competitive for that, and it's an excuse to build something I've been wanting to build anyway. So that it's one of those where it kind of gives me a soft deadline to where if I don't get it done in time, then at least I've got a whole lot done on it, and I can still use something else. But if I do get it done in time, then hooray, I got something done in a short amount of time, and it proves I can actually do it, since I've been working on the Centaur for over 2 years now. But we're close. We're staying close. If you saw the video that I posted this morning, that was as it was before I handed it off to the painter. He's painting it right now. I think he said he's doing top coats right now. So I'll get it back, check everything out, install internals, and hopefully it'll be done, and there'll be a nice video, and it'll be great, and then we'll celebrate. Just got back from getting a new Dremel. Ah, cool. That means we're going to see all kinds of cool stuff from you, right? What kind of motors are in there? There's nothing in here. There's just a stock cage with this Masada assembly on the front from Devil's Nerf Works on there. Just kind of, I haven't really figured out a way to attach it, so it's just like hot glued in place to kind of get the visuals down. There is nothing in here right now. I'm probably going to go with, I haven't decided on buying a set of Neo Rhinos, or if I should go with, I got another pair of Fang Rs I think in here. I'm going to go with a 130 form factor anyway, just because I don't want to cut into the shell, because I want to leave it pretty smooth on both sides. But yeah, no motors yet. I figured I can get foam blast stuff almost next day, so I'm not afraid of making a last minute decision and, knowing that it'll get here in time. So, confirming the cap's 150. Okay, good. I think I knew that, but I wasn't totally sure. But no, thanks for confirming for myself and for everybody else. How's your writer? Sorry you were a bit weird at End War. It's just in awe of your work. Instead of constructive criticism, I just gawked. I know the feeling. There's times where I just gawk at stuff too, so I'm not. I can relate. And honestly, I don't think anybody was awkward at End War. I think we're all just a bit awkward anyway. And so if you could point me at a normal person at the whole event, then I would have been surprised. So don't think that I was sitting there judging anybody. Pistachio, trying to build a Scorch Shot from TF2 currently. Probably don't know what that is, but it's basically an overly cartoonized thread gun. Yes, I don't know diddly squat about video games and stuff. Never was a video game guy. I mean, I was played video games when I was in 6th grade. We never really had consoles growing up. I had a mild interest, people hey, video games, and it's like, oh, that's cool. But I was never a hardcore gamer, if you could have gamers back then. So the only video game experience I have nowadays is just watching basically what people build and say, this is inspired by whatever game, and it's like, oh, okay, there's a game called such and such, whatever. So, but still cool. I mean, it's cool to see people take a reference like that from a game or movie or whatever, and then build, inspired off of that, making that, um, taking that shape and bringing it into, a third dimension, or I guess fourth dimension, whatever you want to say, making it in the flesh, so to speak. What is the barrel? The barrel is the barrel assembly that goes with the. I think it's a Masada kit from Devil's Nerf Works. It's the really cool Strife body kit that he just designed recently, and I think he had them for sale. It was done in time for End War, because I bought this one with this tip, and I bought that one from him, and then I was like, when I ordered some other stuff that I would have had a video for to show off, but I can't make videos right now. But I actually have an unboxing of a bunch of stuff that I bought from him, and I bought this orange one because I wanted the orange bits for this build. Looking good. Wish you were that good. Practice. Start now and gain experience and start making stuff. And I mean, I remember when I first got into the hobby, then when I first started like investigating integration work, I would look at pictures online and say, man, I'm never going to be that good. I wish I could do cool stuff like that. There's several builds from Exiled, who was honestly one of my first like inspirations to get into integrating and stuff, and to take a bit of a different approach. I remember his pump action crossbolt integration thing. I remember looking at that and going, man, I wish I could build cool stuff like that, but I'm never going to build cool stuff like that. And that's absolutely true. I have never built anything like that. I've built other stuff. I've built stuff that he likes, and he argues the same thing that I say all the time, where he's like, no, you're way better, and I'm like, no, man, you're way better. So I guess to different degrees, we're pretty well matched anyway. So there are times where we have to agree to disagree, and just call it at that. Hey, had a blast at N-War. Glad I got to meet you and shake your hand. Love your work. Crypticant. Oh, yeah. Crap. The name's super familiar, and I probably recognized you, or probably recognized something you were carrying. Um, yes, that was such a cool opportunity just to meet everybody. I mean, I was super fortunate to be able to get a booth space, and was able to basically stand in one place and let other people come to me. Um, but no, that was just such a cool opportunity to get to meet not only like the other YouTubers and celebrities and whatnot, but just the other people that I see milling about the different forum, or not forums, but the different media, just different names going by, and it's like, oh, hey, that's so and so, because you kind of identify people by their blaster, because a lot of us don't know what each other's face looks like, which is okay. Um, but no, that was just so cool. I'm so excited to go to Ragnarok, to basically do the same thing. Hopefully, a lot more of the East Coast people that weren't able to make it to End War are going to be there, so I can kind of fill my quota, so to speak. And at the very least, people who will have gone to both, I can catch up with, because there's a lot of people I didn't get a chance to meet when they were at End War, just because of timing and everything. Any worker parts used on the shell? Nope. This is all just shell integrating with just that little front end kit from Devil's Nerf Works. What gun is what's a magazine well from? That's from a Mag Strike. I don't think I have the rest of it. Yeah, there we go. It's from this portion of the Mag Strike, like that. I had to narrow it up a ways to get it to fit right, but I know you're an artist. You like to. I would not consider myself an artist. I'm just a dude who builds stuff. Um, but then I guess people who take pictures, artsy, are just like I just take pictures. People who paint are just like I just rub paint on a thing. Um, but no, I mean, if you consider this an art and you consider this a canvas, then okay, I guess by definition, then it's artistic. I don't think I could go to an art show and have the snobs be like, "Oh yes, that's very impressive." They'd be like, "Get your toys out of here, kid." Um, but I mean, I used to doodle a little bit. Like when I was in school, I'd draw car pictures and stuff. Um, there, in school and shortly out of school, I did a lot of doodling of uh, car caricature things. If you know anything about the hot rodding culture of the early to mid '60s, you would know about Big Daddy Ed Roth and his monster pictures, Ratfink, and stuff like that. I did a lot of that style of art. I've done a few caricatures of my own vehicles. I've done caricatures of coworkers at the time, which are weird, but it's easier to draw caricatures of people you don't like because you can pull out the weird extremities of their personality and their appearance. So that was kind of a more of a stress coping thing. I wouldn't consider it art, and I wouldn't consider it drawing, but I did doodle a fair bit. I used to do I still play with cars, building cars, things like that. I used to work in a body shop, so if you consider that art, or if you consider painting cars an art, then I used to do that as well. But I haven't even actually done body work in 10 years, and my truck shows it. so, um, but no, I really don't consider myself an artist in general. I'm just a dude who builds stuff and has fun. Um, we need an HVZ here in Idaho. We need something out here in Idaho for sure. I know I cannot say anything, but I know there is a person who wants to make Nerf things happen out here. And I have offered him my full support to help make things happen. I can't say anything beyond that, but hopefully there will be a more active nerfing scene in the area. There again, like I said, with Dart Wars going down and those people who are used to playing Nerf all the time now having no place to play Nerf, hopefully they're like, hey, we should do Nerf stuff just for the sake of doing Nerf stuff. And we could just do all kinds of things. We could do mini HVZ or just general like go to a park. Go. I mean, I've still have my whole backyard is still set up as a field from a youth activity that I set up and hosted the other night. And so, like, very well, we could get a dozen guys or so in here and do a little Thunderdome type action. I mean, that's still Nerf. But yes, I am all for any kind of Nerf action around here. As a beginner myself, what primary worthy blasters do you think are good for a beginner, and do you know of any nerfing clubs on the northeast coast of the U.S.? Oh boy, I don't know diddly squat about anything in the northwest or northeast. Northeast, yeah. I've never been that far out, so I don't know anything. You'd have better luck contacting somebody on. I think there's a Reddit post thing or whatever, where you can look up by area and see what kind of clubs and activities are in that area. Beyond that, I don't even know who the heck to talk to for over that side of town. What is this integration of? Is it a strife inside? Looks clean. This is a rapid strike inside of a Centurion with Mag Strike, Magwell Edition, a Magnus top slide upside down, and then this little bit in here is from a Retaliator butt pad. Magnum Super Drum. Yes, I would say Magnum Super Drum is a good beginner type primary. As far as primary things for beginner, it depends on your play style. I don't have that much experience actually like nerfing for the sake of nerfing. I'll usually just grab something like the other night when I played around a little bit during that activity, and so I just grabbed my Alpha Trooper and threw a couple mag holders on, and just kind of had fun that way. I really don't have like a loadout necessarily. And when it comes to like active stuff, when I was a lot more active at Nerfed doing arena stuff, I was Rival, and I just had I need to do that loadout video, I guess. I keep wanting to do that, but then I don't. And that's kind of the story of my life with a lot of things. But I used to ran the crap out of the Atlas when I was nerfing a whole lot on Rival Night, then yeah, I used to just use the crap out of the Atlas. Which you say the Atlas sucks, but I say there's a lot of potential in the Atlas, and I need to do the Atlas video again too. Every time anybody talks about the Atlas, then I say, yeah, I need to do that video, and then I don't do it. Pretty excited to be going to Ragnarok. Yes, having an End War-like event in local area is going to be great. Yes, just having something on this side of the Mississippi, I guess. I guess, is Ohio on? I don't know where the heck. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention when we were flying. I don't know where the heck Ohio is. It's over in the middle somewhere. I don't know. It's going to be nice having something over here because it's going to be a lot cheaper to get there, I'll tell you that. And just the fact that there's more events happening that are like nation or invitational, like stuff to get the community together, which I just love. It's one thing to have, you know, your local event, and it's a big local event, and that's really cool. But you can get such a huge swath of the community to one event and just kind of hang out, because we all kind of hang out online. Like, we hang out on Facebook, we hang out on Reddit, we hang out on the Discords. But to actually show up and, like, you know, shake hands and actually, like, look somebody in the face instead of looking at the screen and saying, hey, I nerf, you nerf, we got something in common. Hey, we're friends, or, you know, you're so-and-so. Just having that kind of camaraderie is just so cool to have actually physically happening. And I think it's great. I really hope that there's more and more of these events, or I guess having the events move around a little bit to where, especially like End War. Have we ever gotten a solid on where that's going to be next year? But it's supposed to be somewhere different. But just to move events closer around the country to different places, so that people who don't have the ability to travel 3, 4, 6 states over can, you know, attend the events. I'd like to see what you do with high power Springer sometime. Yeah, that's the one thing. It's hard to do integrations on Springers, especially like Retaliator, stuff like that, because you have that end cap on the back. So if you integrate a stock, you have to do something to make sure the back end stays nice and secure, so you're not going to blow your guts out, you know, blow the spring out. And so I haven't really figured out a cure for that. But no, I do have a mild interest in high-powered Springers, but that involves brass breaching and stuff, which, I mean, like, hey, I've got long shot parts and nesting brass, so I just need to finish boring this guy out, but I'm not having luck with this drill bit. So that's as close as I am with high-powered Springers at the moment. So I do have some of the materials, I just haven't. And I haven't quite committed to half lengths yet, which I am wanting to early soon, because that makes everything easier for that. It's a lot more efficient and practical for high-powered springs. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things I haven't gotten to yet, but it is on my list for sure. Rewire Stampede. Ah, Stampedes. Yes, that's an iconic sound. It's such a pleasant sound for sure, and fun. I do have Stampede that I need to do something with, but I have some parts hopefully kind of in the mail or something for that, but that'll be something later down the line. Not an integration project, just I want to build a Stampede, so I'm building a Stampede. Found a really weird blaster at a thrift store. Thought you might be interested in pictures. Could send you a picture to you via Facebook. You can send me a picture through Facebook or Instagram or anything else that's convenient for sending pictures. Yes, I love looking at things. If you're going to build something or if you found something cool, I am all for the spread of information, however it is. Tyrone, are there any wars in Idaho? I had a war this week in my backyard. As far as anything bigger than that, not really at the moment. Like I said, we have Nerfed, which is just a indoor arena business, if you consider that a war. If you are in the Idaho area and you want to make wars happen, come talk to me. There again, Facebook or Instagram or however it is easiest to give me a personal message, and we can talk and see about making something happen. Like I said, I'd like to make more stuff happen, but I have a relatively small circle of influence out here. So if we can, even if it's just a matter of, you know, getting a gang together of, you know, 8, 10, 12 guys and just flinging foam in somebody's backyard, I've got, there again, if you want to check Facebook and Instagram, I've got posts of the backyard. You can't really see too well because the camera wasn't doing too good, but I got a mess of pallets and obstacles and barrels and stuff like that, just enough to mix up the field a little bit. So I've got that kind of action. But need more Nerf events in Michigan. Huh. I don't know anything about the Michigan scene. Greenhouse is up in Michigan, and I think he goes to Ohio though, if I remember right, for some of his stuff. I think there's a lot of stuff in Ohio. Is it Ohio? Yeah, I think it's over there. There's stuff close-ish, but there again, it depends on how far you want to travel. But yes, I am all for local events, whatever your local is. If your local's way out there, then I want to see more events out there. There's Nerf is too darn cool to keep to yourself. I am all about sharing the love of Nerf. For whatever reason, our silly little hobby is just so darn cool. It's a strange anomaly. It is our little hobby, our little community. Philadelphia and Philadelphia. Good point. Pistachio, yes. Northeast. If Pennsylvania counts as northeast, then yes, there's quite a little bit over there. Clowney's always over there. Was it Altoona? I think something that reminded me of fish, if I remember right. West vs. Zombies in Billings or Bozeman. Did they actually have a location or date or anything for next year? I'm not sure about the west side of things, as far as that's concerned. We have a good one. Hope you have a good one. Greg, who are you saying that to? Are you leaving? You leaving? If you are, then you have a good one as well, whatever it is. Boomtendo. Hey there, Mr. Nathan. Hey there, Boomtendo. Any tips on barrel integration? Depends on what kind of barrel, what the nature of the integration is, I guess. I don't really know what else to say beyond kind of general integration tips, which my videos are just fraught with. Usually, I usually try to leave some kind of little nugget of information in my videos, regardless of the type of video. But like the mod-along stuff, I try to just kind of leave, whatever happens to come through my mind while I'm working. I try to leave that information there because it's like there's really no way of concentrating all that information into a single video or a thought like that, just because there's so many facets of the integrating thing that you can't really have all the thoughts on integrating all in one spot. So I figure if I can just like sprinkle all my videos with just little tidbits here and there, then at least eventually I'll get it all out somewhere, somehow. Handle integration looks great. Yeah, it actually works pretty good. I thought the Strife and the Rapid Strike grip were really, really, really similar. They're only slightly similar, which kind of bums me out, because the Centurion integration with the Strife is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If you saw the one, I haven't posted it on YouTube yet. I've just posted it on Facebook and Instagram of the Centauride, which is the sister blaster to the Centaur. That stock just nestles into the Strife grip just so perfectly. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I was just blown away, not by my abilities to do it, but by the fact that it happened and just looks so darn good. Love Stampede, yes. Farthest I've gotten in a barrel integration is shoving a retaliator barrel in a sling fire. Hey, that counts. I'll send you some pics too. Sounds great. Yeah, send me stuff. Yeah, take that out of context. No, like I have a lot of people who, especially on Facebook and Instagram, there again, post me pictures of projects they're working on, and a lot of it is really cool stuff that they don't seem to post anywhere else. And it's like, man, you need to get that out there. That's really cool. And in fact, I'm logging up all these pictures of cool stuff that I'm seeing. I want to make a series of videos that's just kind of a. My original idea was to take like a particular blaster, today we're going to look at the Demolisher and look at a whole bunch of different Demolisher integration stuff. But the nature of integrations, it's like, is it just as a base blaster, or is it using like the Centurion like as a stock on different things? But then wouldn't the base blaster of that integration count towards its own video? And so I really haven't decided how I want to do it, but I want to get a bunch of that stuff out there because so many people have built things. It's like, wow, that's so cool for these many reasons. All these things where it's like, wow, that's a cool, unique idea that I really like. And I want to get that information out there, not only because it's good information for people who do integrations and stuff to share the different ideas, share inspiration, but also because it's like, dang, look at this guy, he built something really cool, just to get the recognition out to the wildly talented people that we have out here. and some, to people who don't have quite as I mean, I'm not saying I have any kind of real voice or any influence, but I mean, it's something. And if you have less than me, then then what little I can give you is even better. So, it's my little bit to say, wow, what you built really wowed me, and I like being wowed. So, let me see what I can do about making sure everybody else knows the cool stuff you can do. Oh my heavens, I'm not going to try to pronounce your name, and I'll apologize in advance. Bought a couple of strice for kids, but they're currently too young. That means you get to have all the fun. Cut several months later, and I'm so deep into this Nerf rabbit hole. Hello from Wales. Yes, welcome to the rabbit hole. This is such an amazing, amazing, not only amazing hobby, but an amazing community that supports the hobby. So welcome aboard. I hope your Nerf arsenal is wide and deep and wonderful. Is that gun battery powered or Springer? This is a Rapid Strike, so it is a flywheel blaster. Will you be doing a Merge Masters recap video for this year's contest? Yes, there's so many cool blasters coming out of Merge Masters this year. I'm way excited. I actually haven't taken part. I've got a couple builds going on that I figured if I get them done in time, which is, what, Christmas, right about? If I get something done in time that I think is worthy of competition, and accounts for the meets the qualifications or whatever, then I might enter. But I'm just so it's just so cool to sit back and just see all the cool innovation and just see these people, a lot of the people coming out of the blue where it's like, man, where did this guy come from? But he's building this really cool thing, or wow, this really wacky idea, this combination of stuff that I wouldn't have considered. So much cool stuff for Merge Masters this year. I'm way, way, way excited. Yes, I'm definitely going to be doing coverage of some kind. I'm not sure quite how. I know a lot of people liked the way I did it last year, so I might do that. I haven't decided yet. But yes, I do want to get that information out there and just talk about stuff, kind of like I did, like I said, like I did last year. Just kind of being like, here's this thing, here's these real cool things about it, and here's what I saw, and here's what I like, and here's this clever thing, or okay, the reason this looks good is because of this, and whatever little subtleties that some more, I guess, less experienced people in the hobby might not have picked up. Some of the more subtle details and stuff. But there again, just kind of bringing that stuff to light. Starting to do my own integrations with Nerf blasters. Don't have anything about Nerf on my channel, but I'm actually hardcore Nerfer. Awesome. So you're kind of in the closet, so to speak, still, as far as your exposure, I guess. But that's cool. Starting integrations, that's awesome. It's kind of a big leap. A lot of people are nervous about starting integration work because it is a bit daunting. But start simple, man. Just start simple. Don't try to go jumping immediately into something big and crazy because there's a chance you might get frustrated or whatever, and you don't want to do that. But no, it's very satisfying. There again, it more matches my personality, I guess. So, but no, that's awesome. Looking forward to seeing what you create. Most you've done as an integration is slapping a radar priming grip on an EAT. Recently picked up a bandsaw, so yeah, hey, there again, that still counts. I'd consider that an integration of sorts. Lampshade, you also have integration stuff, but you don't do it on your channel. That's okay. I went for what, over a year, almost 2 years, playing with this stuff, and then hadn't even done anything on the community. I was just watching stuff. I didn't actually share anything. Hadn't actually talked to anybody. So yeah, I mean, get out there, show your stuff off, even if it's not super fantastic or anything. I've looked at some pretty rough integrations from, whether it's people are inexperienced or whatever, but I've looked at it and said, that was a cool idea. Oftentimes I'm willing to overlook, body work or whatever like that, just because that's something you can learn and you can develop. But a lot of people don't have the vision to create something super unique or something off the wall or out of the ordinary. So my brain immediately goes to, what was used, how was it used, versus like the actual finished product or, the level of gloss on the paint, so to speak. Codebreaker has a long pump I needed for my Apollo. That is a good point. I recently got a Codebreaker just because I wanted to have something that one of my nieces can use because it's a nice light draw. Um, but yeah, very long pump stroke, like the huh. See, there you go. That's the kind of stuff where it's like that went way over my head. But very much, I would consider it a good idea. Is anybody bored with this? Do you want to go on to something else? How are you guys feeling? We kind of jumped up. We were close to 30. Now there's 20. That means I must be doing something boring. Or somebody cooler is streaming now. Crap, it is Friday night. What time does Wacom crank his thing on? He usually starts about this time or is it a little later. I haven't been able to make it to one of his streams for so long because it seems like every time I get the notification where it's like, hey, Wacom's streaming something, it's like, crap, I got to run into town or I got other things going on. So I haven't been able to see anything of his for a while. Okay. Only just jumped in on this. Why are you epoxying that shell? What gun is that? Looks like a Rhino. Huh. That's a good point. Having this little dude on there. Huh. Interesting. No, why am I epoxying it? It's actually not technically epoxy. It is DevCon plastic welder, which is a methyl methacrylate, which is still an adhesive, but it works chemically different than epoxy. I am integrating a Rapid Strike shell into a Centurion shell to take advantage of not only the cool aesthetics and the nice stock and the thumb hole and cool stuff like that, but also have a Mag Strike magwell here just because it looks nifty and will give kind of a slightly flared effect, and added a little foregrip looking thing up here. It's strictly cosmetic. The internals and the function is not being modified at all except for upgraded internals, but as far as the actual integration of things doesn't affect the functionality of the base blaster. It's just cool, and that's kind of my scene. That's what this is like my section of the Nerf hobby, so to speak. This is what rings my bell. How long is this supposed to be? I don't know. How long have we been going? Somebody want to let me know? I messed up a Centurion stock trying to integrate it to a demolisher, and I don't know what to do to salvage it. Get creative. That's all I can say. There's times where I goof up on something or make a wrong cut, and it's like, okay, well, it's no longer going to do this, so now I have to get creative and have something overlap or change the idea altogether. But have you named your gun yet? Yes, this is Devil's Hand, which is actually an interesting story. Back when that weird meme was online, where it was like, you mess with the blank and you get the blank that rhymes with the original word. And somebody posted a thing on the Nerf Reddit that I think it was the mess with Draco, you get the wacko, and it's got Drac sitting there with a ladle or a spatula or something. And everybody got a good chuckle over that. And there was a few people trying to make their own. And then Landgrave came out and made like 12 dozen of those little meme things with different people in the community, and his was, you mess with Mr. Nathan, you get the Fist of Satan. And I thought, wow, that's really weird. And it kind of stuck with me. And this is a build that I've been wanting to build for a while. That's going to be my new personal be all end all blaster. And so the Devil's Hand is the Fist of Satan. If you mess with Mr. Nathan, you get the Fist of Satan, Devil's Hand. So it's kind of a name that had special meaning, and it was a bit clever, I thought. So it's kind of a dual purpose, sounds intimidating, and it has a cool meme attached to it, which means it's hip, and all the hip kids are going to like it, right? Hey, Prickly, how you doing? Hey, if anybody else is watching, I got this from Prickly's Nerf Mods, who is right in the chat right now. This will be, I have some ideas for this. This was a project he started and then abandoned. I say abandoned in the nicest way possible because I've done the same thing. But this is a demolisher and a long shot. I have plans for this, but it's on the list down a ways after a few other things. But he offered it for sale, and I couldn't pass it up. So thank you, Prickly. Do you ever build guns for your family? As far as I don't do integration stuff necessarily for family, but I've built my dad. Well, my dad's is the if you remember the Rhino the Rhino motor in the Chaos video was actually my dad's Chaos that I built for him when we were there. Again, we used to go to the arena like religiously every week, and we would just go tear the place up. My dad's like 60, but that dude will tear up the arena. Like, watch out. Like, he's scared the crap out of me a couple times. Like, they actually moved the teams around a couple of times to balance things out, because it'd get to the point where it would be the two of us against like a dozen or two kids, and we'd still whoop them. And so they're like, okay, we gotta break you guys up this time. Being on the other end of that thing is absolutely horrifying. And that dude, like I said, he'll just tear the place up. And it's like, man, I don't know how the heck you do it. I can only hope I can move that good when I'm in your age. Hey, Prickly, I like your work. Yes, Lampshade, so do I. We've been doing this 50 minutes. Okay, that's not bad. Maybe like, I don't know, another half hour or something? I mean, how long do you guys watch these things for anyway? I guess it's pretty good. We go a little bit. I'll give that thing time to cure. At least you guys got a nice look at it. Let's talk about this bad dude. Oh crap, gotta catch up real quick. I think Lampshade Shane considered subscribing to YouTube. Yes, check out his YouTube. He does periodic videos. In fact, I need to watch your more recent one about the End War build. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet, and I want to really bad. So I'll probably do that later tonight. What's the front? Yeah, that was yeah, Prickly. That was the same muzzle that's on the blaster I just mentioned of yours. Yes, it was just the. I think, is it a Masada kit? I'm not a firearms guy, but it was. It's this one, but an orange version. But I actually bought that one from him at FoamCon. Because he was like, "Do you like this?" And I was like, "Man, that's really awesome." And he's like, "You want it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how much?" And he's like, "Blah." And I was like, "Yes, I will take that for that price." I believe it was reduced from the regular price. Either way, it was a good deal, and I like it. I don't think he has those available on the channel on his Etsy yet, which is too bad because it's a phenomenal little piece. So the not epoxy stuff. What does that? What does? Oh, sorry. I'm going to apologize again. I'm going to call you Uber because I can get that part of the word of your name. I'm apologizing again. The not epoxy stuff. What you're doing now to the shell? Basically, what I was doing is I took all these different components of these different shells and glued them into place, and now I'm just kind of, which I did with the same DevCon material, just kind of tacked it in place to where they'd hold, and now I'm just going through and was just kind of filling in gaps and stuff in little places and things like that. A lot of people use epoxy putty or some kind of putty or whatever, but I just wanted to, I like using DevCon because when it's cured, it acts like the base plastic, and so it's about the same hardness. It sands, it shapes just like the plastic, and it's about as solid, if not more solid, than the plastic. So I like having that security of making sure that the build itself is that much more rigid and strong. So yeah, I'm just filling in some of the little low spots and gaps, and I got, like I said, still have a lot of holes in here. And basically what I was doing something where I can still make progress, but at the same time talk to you guys. So it was kind of an excuse to get something done and actually interact instead of just kind of in here working and going, "Oh yeah, you guys still talking? Whoops." So, hey, what the heck, Prickly? $5. You rock, man. Oh my gosh, I gotta. Oh, no, it's still stock magwell. It's just the shape was cut out because it looked neat, I thought. And because having the full length on the magwell made it look a little heavy, so this kind of trims it up a little bit and just looks nifty. Oh, sorry, trying to get caught up on chat. Thanks for the response. Usually chats I'm in are too fast for any response. Yeah, sorry. This is actually moving quicker than I originally expected as well. So I apologize if I do miss anybody. Favorite has to be the Motor Fury Stripe. Yes, Prickly. That thing, I like that. I need to get myself a Motor Fury. That was a good integration. That just has really good lines, and I think I told you that. If I didn't, I apologize. And yes, that was very nice. I did like that. Get posted up the Endor one. Be able to see we can. Don't get here. Oh crap! Sorry, man. That I saw it on Instagram. That's what it was. Yeah, sorry. Don't go watch his video yet. It doesn't exist. But look at his Instagram and Facebook, I think, post. Still cool. Still really, really, really nice looking blaster. Look like it looks real good. Got here in time. Hey, Clowny, how you doing? Oh, congratulations on the new job too. That kind of bummed me out when I heard Walmart let you go, but looks like you found someplace, so that's awesome. And keep the stuff coming, man. I always like watching your videos. Always like seeing the stuff you post on the media. Always cool to see what the heck you're doing. Thanks, both you guys. How you doing? Okay, so there was a debate when I posted this video. I'm gonna get this out of the way because the drum is gargantuan. In fact, yeah, let's just break this up down. All right, not hired yet. Waiting for the callback. Oh, rats. Well, sorry for the premature. Congratulations. I hope it works out for you then. RZ Rider, $9.99. Awesome, man. Thanks. Really appreciate it. Like, seriously, like, I really appreciate that. Sexy Beast of a Blaster Dude. Yes. So, yeah, sorry. Yeah, Prickly, I hear you. There's so many people I want to be able to donate to, but I don't always have the income to build the stuff I want to, and I'm a little bit selfish, and I apologize. Ugh. But yes, I wish I had more. It's tempting to just take like my Patreon money and give it to everybody else's Patreon, but that's not really fair to the people that are paying me. But I still want to pay other people as well to be like, hey, you're building cool stuff. I want to support you. So even if I can't support you guys financially, you people who are watching who I support, man, I'm pulling for you. Clowny, waiting to see how you deal with the Mega on the other side. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That was part of the, like I said, originally I was going to cut out a lot more of the back end here, kind of where like half of the letters are. But at this point, I think I'm going to fill in, like, right here would be easy to fill in with sheet material. This, I can do that pretty easily. This little body line that comes through here is going to be awful tricky. So, yeah, that's, I'm going to have to resort to putty on some of this, I think. I want to fill up the majority of it with sheet material and then just kind of putty up what little I need to kind of make up the difference. There again, that was actually what I was just going to get ready to talk about, was this back end here and the debate from last video. Was it the last video? Anyway, it was the only video on this. So, usually when I'm doing this, I'll actually like stand up above the table and look down, but then you'll see my bald spot, and I don't want you to have to deal with that. So I'm looking at the reference over here on the screen. So I apologize for, you know, I'm looking over here so I can look here, which is weird because as I'm looking here, I'm looking at myself, pointing at that. So, yeah, there's the issue with the last video where I said I wanted to come through here and cut out this area, but I'd lose the battery door. But I do like the battery door because it's gargantuan, and it's super handy because you could fit like a brick of a battery in there. Like you could almost fit an actual brick in there. If you could power something with a brick, you could fit it in there. But there's the benefit of that, which I really like, but at the same time, not only do I have to deal with absent letters, which aren't very much fun. Yeah, if I cut up here and over here, I do lose this body line here, so I'd have to drop. Let's see, where's my marker? We're gonna draw on this sucker. Ready? What are your thoughts on Thunderhawk integrations? I approve. It'll be interesting to see what gets done with them, because really the only part that's worthwhile is the back half. Because this isn't going to look good on anything. That said, you do have this, which is super neat, but I was originally going to use this on the front of the Devil's Hand, but it ended up being just absolutely enormous. And yeah, that's not going to work. So But I have sized this up due to the suggestion from Ben's Mods, I believe, of putting it on a long shot, which I don't have a long shot within reach, but I did size it up, and it does fit on, and it's like, oh, hey, there's actually something to that. And this part just kind of here wraps over the whole rail and everything. You wouldn't be able to do pump action without cutting into this, but it was a consideration that I'm kind of hanging on to this going, yeah, we'll see. It's one of those things where it's really cool, but I don't want to use it poorly, I guess, because I've only got the one. Well, I've got another one, but I want to keep it as what it is. Because I would like to convert that one to pump action and all that. Wow, I don't know who the heck it was. Made the battle shotgun or whatever it was, where it's like the whole harmonica clip things are shotgunned, and it's pump action and terrific. Everybody should click the like button. Yeah, sure, that'd be okay. I'm all for that. I don't know what that does, but that's cool. Jameson, you're here. Well, congratulations. Welcome aboard. Looking at stuff as a picture is a good trick. Forces you to look at the whole blaster, not focused on areas. Do it with drawings, new mods. Yes, indeed. Cool. Yes, unfortunate about the Thunderhawk bit. I'm assuming that was kind of a bummer that just the scale just did not work out. Been working on a 2-stage Thunderhawk Centurion railgun. Just wanted to see what you thought. I would definitely be interested in seeing kind of what you had in mind as far as what you're picturing on how to accomplish that. Am I going to turn this into a magazine-fed gun? No. I'm going to just sit here with this gargantuan drum in all of its glory, and it's going to be wonderful, and I'm so excited. That said, I have recently acquired a few of the Busby XL blasters, and I do want to take one of those. I want to take another Mastodon, cut the front end off, or I guess just the flywheel section anyway, and whatever I need to attach things, and a Mega Magwell, and then a Stampede section for the back to act as a pusher, because Buff Daddy built something like it, and he did it the Buff Daddy way, where it's like functional, but it's not exactly pretty. But I want to make it functional and pretty, because I think it would be like just awesome. Because I saw a video where he ran a HVZ of some kind, and he had just like a dozen of those gargantuan Busby 12-round Mega Mags, and this weird Stampede Mega flywheel. Basically, it was like a mega rapid strike, but the thing was like the size of a Buick, and it was just amazing. Okay. So, what do we got here? Anyway, so do we have an opinion on... Oh yeah, I was going to draw on stuff. So if we cut here, like that, and pull it up here, say, and connect like this line with this line, I'll even get a ruler so we look legit. Holy freaking heck, Tyrone, 20 bucks, oh my gosh. I don't know what to do with that kind of money. Wow. Tyrone, I'm going to do something special with that. I haven't decided yet, but there's a couple things that I've been wanting to do that are special, and I'm going to use that for something special, for sure. So thank you very much for, I believe, the largest single contribution I've received for this channel yet. Are you going to make it fire elite darts, or are you going to keep it firing megas? It's going to fire megas for now, but I did look at it a lot and say, you know, I wonder what it would take to convert it to use a giant drum, but design a new one that holds like a bazillion elite darts, and then design a flywheel cage that basically acts as an adapter between the Mastodon flywheel cage and a strife cage, and shrink everything down. You'd have to adjust the pusher, or the indexing mechanism, and the pusher and everything to work as well. So you'd have to basically redesign all the internal components. But if you had a drum that's like that big, that's just full of megas, or full of elites, and you could rig up the rate of fire a little bit better, so you had like a giant, I don't know, it'd be fantastic though. Something cool would be mixing 2 A's to load it, but then I mean, yeah. Ugh. Do you retain access to the internals, or is it a work of art once done? No, you could. All of my builds are completely serviceable. I make sure everything is still split down the middle, not only for alignment's sake, but also for opening and servicing. You can access the internals. You can do everything just like a normal blaster. I try to retain all the usability and the serviceability of the original blaster to where basically you can hand it to somebody else and they can swap out internals or do whatever they want to do. One of the Marauder, the Rapid Strike Raven that I sent to Canada, is actually getting completely overhauled, and it's, there again, serviceable just like a standard blaster. So yeah. Anyway, back to this guy. I keep getting distracted. I really apologize to you. 23 of you. Man, bless you guys. So what I'm looking at here is if I cut this along here, where does that fit? I think I have this line just about right. But if I, there, so that would kind of match up with the, okay, well, I'll tell you what. If I did cut it right here, that would leave this weird void hanging out, so I'd have to fill that with something anyway. Which that's a negative to me, because that'd be kind of an awkward space to fill. And if I pulled this line here and then it dropped down, that would drop it down to down here. So it would kind of come up. It would be kind of an awkward thing. I do like the idea of having the back end a little lighter, so it matches the reference picture better. But I kind of like the idea of having this continuous line all the way through here and down and over, and it's all beautiful like that. So there's a lot to be said for that, and the battery door, and I'm just listing all these benefits, all these pros over and over and over again. I do think, if I'm sizing that up right now here the Mastodon kind of comes and it drops down, but the Thunderhawk has this little, more of a gentle rise to it. So if I line that up, apologies for a second, make sure that's lined up correctly. Yeah, it has just a little bit of a bump that would be exposed here, so I think I will trim this area, or I guess trim the Mastodon part around this little bit. But I think I'm going to go ahead and keep battery door. So to those of you on the video who voted for battery door, you won, I guess. If anybody wins. I won, maybe. Reminds me of Exile's entry in the first Merge Masters. Whew. First Merge Masters, that was a long time ago. I can't remember what he entered. That was... Oh, Exile, that's his first one. That was the XR2, I believe, which was just a beautiful blaster. I wish I could afford just to go over to Singapore and look at it. Touch it, maybe. That'd be just fabulous. What if he still has that? I thought he talked about selling it once. I hope he didn't. I could never afford the thing, but I'd love to have it, absolutely. So, is it just me, or do you hate wearing socks to bed? It depends on how cold it is. Definitely right now, I'm not going to wear socks to bed. But when it's 40 degrees in the house, then I might change my tune. It actually never gets 40 degrees. Feels like it sometimes. In the spring, sometimes it does. But we keep our house in the winter at a nice balmy 55, and it's fantastic. We don't even have the argument over the thermostat, like most couples do. Emil, is that how that's pronounced? I'm sorry. No, it's... I'm sorry. Good morning to you, though. It is 7:15 right now over here. So, and lampshade, it's good night. Well, it's just kind of good evening for me. So we're kind of in the middle here. So, okay, well, let's, we've come to a decision because we're grown-ups, and that's what we do. So, we're going to size this guy up. And where's your neighbor? Where's your other part? Hello. No. Okay, so. Okay. Hogan24, hello to you too. Justin, what country do you live in? Are you asking me, or are you asking one of the other wonderful people in the chat? Because I live in the good old US of A. Me, yes. United States citizen. Okay. Now what we have here, this is where we're actually going to this is real talk. This is Mr. Nathan real talk right here. The Mastodon, where the screws are for the battery door, have these little bumps on the back where the actual captive nuts are held that you screw into. So we want to make sure we leave those, And these here on the back is just all raw cuts because I wasn't sure what I was going to do yet. So those will get cleaned up and it'll look nice. A lot of that kind of depends on what the inside of the shell looks like on the other half once it's in there. But what we want to do is make sure that we cut enough material off here. Which state do I live in? Yeah, that's different. I live in Idaho, which is in the Pacific Northwest still, technically. Just east of Oregon, Washington, and west of Montana and, I don't know, Colorado? What's the other one? No, Montana, Wyoming. I don't know. I'm not an atlas. Idaho. So we want to make sure that we have, because I do want to I like to overlap joints as much as possible. So I want to make sure that you do have, you know, that much right there. Where's my measuring thing? I kind of cleaned the place up earlier so I'd have room, and then I don't know where any of my cool stuff is, which I hate. It's almost more efficient to be messy because at least you know where all your junk is, kind of. Anyway, you have about that much room between the bottom of the body that we're going to run with and the battery door wall, I guess. So we have that much room where we can overlap. So I want to make sure I use as much of that as possible, but we need to make sure we account for these guys. So we'll need to like kind of do a uppy down cut. So Derpy Frost. Yes, converting megas to elites is easy, but it's not as much easy on this just because of the way the pusher mechanism works and the flywheels as well. So I think that would be a you'd still have to convert all that stuff. But I like the idea of the mega just because it's like a big honking gun thing, and so I think it's going to be cool. I think if you had elites, it would kind of detract a lot from the cool overall effect. I want to have this thing looks like a 55-gallon drum sitting on your shoulder and just lobbing these giant darts out. So that's yeah. Okay, we're gonna push that over, and we're gonna say okay. We want to line this up with that, and just for hang on. Like roughly like that. I do believe. So I'm going to make a mark here and here where these screws stick through. So we want to make sure we leave a little bit of room on either side there for those. Uber, what materials do you use for shell integrations? Materials is in like beyond just the shells, and it is again. Can I get this? Oh, over here, not the camera. This camera. It's DevCon plastic welder. It's a methyl methacrylate, which I mention off and on in some of my other posts and stuff. So the spelling is really goofy. But that is the bonder that I use. It works chemically, whereas like epoxies have more of an adhesive bond. This is an actual chemical bond that literally welds the two pieces of plastic together the way you weld sheet metal together, where you're adding a material and superheating the two pieces of metal together to create that weld. This stuff basically does the same thing, where you do weld, like actually melt the plastic to the plastic and the plastic to the bonder. So it's just an extraordinarily strong bond. You still have to do surface prep, make sure it's going to adhere to the plastic right. But once it's bonded, if you try to break that, you're more likely to break the plastic around it before you actually break the bond itself. And it's just fantastic stuff. It's like the product made for this purpose almost, but I don't know what it's actually used for. Beyond that, I use a little bit of putty, a little bit of, I use a little bit of this Bondo glazing putty that's just for filling in pinholes and scratches and things, light body work. I also have epoxy sculpt, which is a epoxy putty, but it's super fancy and works beautifully for large irregular areas that are too delicate for the DevCon, but yet too large for the Bondo. But I try to use that sparingly as well, and it's ludicrously expensive. Beyond that, aside from tools, there's not a whole lot else I actually use. Beyond, I mean, once you get to paint, it's your choice of paint. So if this sits here, we need to make sure we have a line here that we need to account for. We don't want to cut off too much this way. Oh, hey, here's a thing. Here's a little tidbit, I guess. I wish I could zoom in, but I don't know how. You have this line here that kind of comes and rounds up. Well, you get to this point here, the actual, point where it breaks from the curve and goes straight. It looks like that'll almost line up with the edge of this line here, which would be just kind of a cool, subtle, not really necessary, but also just kind of nifty, kind of breaking up the lines a little bit, making it look smoother. Lampshade poop. Gonna leave y'all. Well, hey, thanks so much for coming in and for stopping by and saying hi and participating, and have a wonderful rest of your evening and weekend as well. So, we got this here. Body lines up with this break here, which is also super cool. This marker doesn't work good, which is a bummer because I like those ones. The edge of the flat body of the Mastodon lines up with the break here on the back of the Thunderhawk. So we kind of tie that together so we'll have a nice consistent level, I guess, to where it'll look believable. And that, a lot of the time in matching shells and stuff, you want it to be believable. It doesn't have to be right or whatever, but as far as matching the shells and matching the lines, you want it to look predictable and believable when you're all done, which is cool when this works, because it'll work, because we do have a little bit of this is going to be exposed, it looks like. Maybe. Actually, it might not be too bad. We might have a little bit of this exposed, and so it'll be consistent having this break match above this line as well as along with it. So that's cool. Pimptimus, howdy all, how goes the modding? Modding is always fantastic. So we know, okay, now this was cut up here, there again, cut nice and long. So we don't have to worry about that, but since the battery door is going to be there, we can bring it back. Actually, we can bring it all the way back. We want to make sure we have a little bit of overlap there again. So if the shells are here, so I think we can cut this guy there again, making our cuts a little bit conservative when we first match things up. Then once we get kind of things bonded in place, you can trim back to the joint. So this is just kind of the actual body line. We'll cut inside of this. J. Rowe, I am back, and so are you. So we're going to want to make sure that guy fits like that. Then this guy comes here. We want to make sure we leave a little bit of room. Right? No, wait, how's that work? Whoops, no, we want to cut down a little bit. So we have these going to be like that. So we need to make sure we cut out a little bit. Thanks for the insights. I've tried grinding the shell of the stripe to get the warnings and logo. How do you get a smooth finish? Mine looks ground off like okay. I use, to get labels and stuff off, I have this giant, nice, coarse file, and I'll usually go in there and hold it nice and flat, and it takes forever, but it's worthwhile. Sometimes I'll even, to get some of the initial takedown off, I will use the side here because it's a little more aggressive. But as long as you're holding it flat, you're not going to be digging down into the material like you would if you're using like a Dremel or even like aggressive sandpaper. It should remove it pretty evenly, and then as you get closer and closer to the base finish, then I've got some 180 here, and a sanding block, a very nice firm sanding block. And I will actually go through and block it down, because there again, the block won't remove material down below the substrate. So, if you are sanding this, it sands just the letters, and that works all the way down to the actual base. So that's my way of getting it down. Sometimes I'll use the Dremel just to get, like, especially like the egregiously tall ones. I'll kind of kiss that off a little bit just to get some of the bulk material down. But beyond that, I like to be a little more delicate, just because I don't want to have the big deep troughs and stuff like that. Derpy Frost, there are no commercially available Mastodon replacement motors, so I'll just be sticking with this as is for now. Okay. We have come to a situation. Clowning Nerf, personally I like to use emery boards for warning. Yes, that also works as well. I don't personally like emery boards as much as what they call flexi files, which I used to have some from my scale model days. There's basically the same thing, but it's the aggregate, the actual aggressive, scratchy stuff, is more designed for work with plastics and stuff instead of nails, and I just have found that they last a little longer. But they're also stupid expensive, which is another reason I don't do as many models as I used to. But yes, those emery boards do work. So what I found out is that I'm going to be removing like all of this area here, which includes this piece here. Now, if you remember, those of you who were here like 10 minutes ago, we talked about leaving that in place to kind of fill up this little gap and make it a little more gradual. Well, if we're removing it entirely, it becomes a separate piece, and we can put it wherever the heck we want. And we like freedom. So I think I'll go through and I'll just use the cutoff wheel, and I'll just tear this out. We'll set this guy aside. We're now at ease on what we do with this. We're going to focus on just mocking up the grip itself. And then once we get that established, we can go back through and place this wherever we want. So, where's my thing? There we go. If you want some good 360 replacement motors, check out SVM 360 motors. I quite like them. Interesting. Are they dimensionally the same? Because I know when people are looking for performance rival motors, then they're having problems with offset and can depth and stuff like that. So if you have personal experience with replacing Mastodon motors, and not necessarily just 360s overall, because I think that includes Stampedes and Vulcans and stuff, I can't remember, then I would like to know. And in fact, if you have more details on that, I would love to talk to you in, there again, get me a private message through Facebook or Instagram or something like that. Okay, Dremel time. So if you guys are sensitive and have headphones on and stuff like that, turn the volume down a little bit, because I don't know how to cut the feed from the mic and stuff. So hang on. are you going to put a rev switch in the handle like a strife or an on-off switch? I'm probably going to do a two-stage trigger. Have the switches lined up to where immediately when you start to pull, then it pulls on one switch and starts to rev the flywheels, and then by the time you get actually into the pulling position, then it will fire. And hopefully, if I can get a nice fat lipo, because I don't have one that would probably adequately feed this, then the acceleration should be snappy enough that a casual pull should rev it up good enough to at least fire close range and stuff. So that's the plan right now. But if that does not work, then I hope to have the internals finished up and have it functioning before paint and stuff like that, so that if I need to, I can come through and add a little rev switch of some kind, which there's not a whole lot of room in there, but we'll see what we can do. Like I said, ideally it'd be nice to just have something this big just, you know, on a two-stage trigger. Talked to Zach from Naptown. He did one. Motor replacements? Is that what you're saying? I don't remember that, actually. I seem to recall him doing a Mastodon mod, but I don't recall a motor swap on that. So, yeah, if you can clarify that real quick, then maybe I'll talk to him, well, at least at some point. I don't need to do anything like that yet, but I do like gathering information. Dremel ASMR, I guess. I mean, if you like it, that's your thing. Uber, what do you cut the shell with? Dremel? Yes, I just have this guy with the little cord on it because I like that. And this is a steel bit that's, I believe, diamond impregnated, has little holes and aggressive things and stuff like that. And it just does a lot of damage, and I like it. But you can use a conventional carbide disc or whatever. If it's not too much trouble, could you check how much clearance you have with the 360s and the shell? Oh, you're talking the can itself? Golly, I'd say you can go almost a half inch deeper. Of course, you run into this little insert thing that it had, but I'm going to be changing this up anyway, so I'm not going to use that little insert, so that's not as much of an issue. But yeah, there's a little bit of room to be dealt with. I'm not sure what the clearances was on the Zeus and stuff, but it's a possible. I think it was Hellcats. Hellcats, really? Did he just use adapters or something to fit into the bigger size, the bigger motor housing or whatever you want to call it? Uber Jolts, sick mods, dude. Well, hey, thanks. Extra $5, man. You guys are great. I mean, it means a lot to me that you guys not only like what I do, but you're like, hey, we actively want to see you do more cool things, and so here's money and stuff to do really cool things. And it's like, man, I'm just I don't know, I'm blown away by that, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. And I hope you know that money that I get not only through, you know, the pittance that I get from YouTube itself, but also through the Patreon now, that I do hold that money in high regard. I mean, I don't spend it idly or unwisely. I actually make very thought out purchases where it's like, okay, this is something that you know, this is money that was given to me by people who want me to do cool things, and so I'm not just like, yeah, let's go out to dinner, yeah, I'm gonna put gas in the truck. It's like, I want to make sure that it's reinvested into you guys, basically, or at least into something that you guys will appreciate. Okay, so just trying to figure. There's a little bit more of a okay. It hadn't really fitted too much on the other side yet, so I was kind of hoping that there's enough width on the Mastodon side that would wrap around more of the Thunderhawk, but I'm gonna have to trim the Thunderhawk anyway. So But it is nice because I was a little bit worried about how tall this area was, which actually isn't as tall here. That might be a concern, actually. That it would, like, it'd be too large of a, it'd be too much of a difference coming from this plane to the depth of the Thunderhawk part, and so it would be like an awkwardly deep slab right there. But the way it looks like it's fitting, once we get that matched up, it actually should be pretty subtle, and I'm actually really excited about that. Oh, Uber! Holy smokes! Thanks, man, for the outstanding achievement in the field of Nerf. Man, I'm just building stuff that I like, and it makes me happy. That makes other people happy. So thanks so much, man. So we got this guy here. We have plenty of room up front, and I'm not too worried about, you know, that's just going to fit in nice and neat. And it feels like, oh, why isn't that working out? Okay, so this line here is pretty happy, but it's the, where is it? Is it squeezing down? There's a bit more material than I'm accustomed to, so it's kind of awkward moving this much stuff around. Considering side mounting Nemesises or two to the Prometheus, any suggestions? Wow. Buy more ammo. That's where I would start. I'm not as good with sticking things next to each other as well. You might have to talk to Walcom about stuff like that. That's more up his alley. J-Roll, with a half-inch of clearance, perhaps you can go with the 390 motor without shell cutting. Oh, that'd be good. That'd be like putting big block in here. So that definitely something to look into. I have to do some measurements and get some dimensions of actual 390s, you know, directly, so I can see exactly what if that's going to work. But that's a very interesting proposition. All motor replacement videos I saw on the Zeus cut the shell because there's not enough room, but with Mastodon I think you can do it. Oh, that's excellent to know. Thank you very much. That gives me hope. So we might be putting some big beastly guys in here just for the heck of it. Not necessarily higher RPM, but I do want to have some really, really speedy spool up. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is, I think I'm going to trim off more of this area here so that I can drop this panel of the Mastodon behind, so it fits more like that instead of kind of sitting on top. Basically, instead of trimming Mastodon stuff off to fit the Thunderhawk behind, I'm going to fit more, trim off more of the Thunderhawk so the Mastodon fits kind of into a little bit more. How you guys doing? How long have we been at this? Is anybody watching that? There's 25 of you guys? Man, thanks a bunch. It's really cool to get to hang out with you guys on a Friday evening. My wife's out of town. She's doing a family thing. So it's kind of cool to actually hang out and talk to somebody besides the dog, who the dog's over there giving me dirty looks, being like, hey, why are you talking to the screen? What are you doing? Why don't you come play with me? So I'll probably have to shut it down here next little bit and play with him, because he's a good guy and I like him. So I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to do the old half shell thing for a second. Okay, hang on a second. This is a nifty opportunity to show something. Do I actually have the things to show? Dang it, where is everything? There again, I moved. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I've had people suggest it a couple times of like, hey, when you do shell integrations, why do you fit both pieces of the shell together at the same time? And you have issues of alignment this way. So why don't you put it flat on the table and, you know, meet the shells up that way, and then just stick the other half together, and it'll be immediately matched up. Well, the catch with that is, say here on this Mastodon, you have this weird you have like the center line, but then you have this big protrusion here from whatever the heck is supposed to fit there that I'm not sure. And so when you set it down, it holds it at a rather radical this way. So it was on the, what the heck was it? Can't remember what it was. It might have been this guy. I can't recall offhand, but actually discussed it with somebody before that if you took some kind of, I was going to use like square dowels or whatever and lay them this way to where you set the shell on the middle line and then anything weird would hang down below and wouldn't be an issue, and so you'd have the actual center line of the shell as a datum line, I guess, is what we used to call it when I was doing auto body. And so I just happened to have a kind of a foam block thing that was from something that was shipped, I can't remember what, but it's all the same depth this way. So if we set them like that, technically, if we set this on top now, that should have it magically float above the table, but should still be on a nice even plane. So, can we do that with the weird irregularity of the Mastodon shell? You just have to make sure it's not sitting on some of these weird little shell supports or whatever, so you want to make sure it's actually on the center line. And we don't have a whole lot to work with up here, so we'll have to, I don't know, hope. Okay, so that's sitting pretty level. What are you guys doing? Almost looks like you can make the drum removable. You got several drums. I'm not sure about that because there's a weird indexing thing on the back of the drum that might cause issues, but it's a cool thing to think about because I happen to know where there's 8 mastodons that are used. But the guy's not necessarily wanting to sell them, but I might be able to discuss it with him. I don't know. What else you got? Love to see you working on this. Yes, I'd love to be working on it. Thank you, Matt. Tyrone Hendren. Oh my gosh, 2 hours? Okay, I apologize. You guys want to keep going, or do you want me to shut it down and maybe we'll do it again like, I don't know, tomorrow or next week or something like that? It's hypnotic watching you work, the Bob Ross of Nerf. That is one of the first things I heard when I first started like actually sharing my stuff and became involved with the hobby. Was people were like, "You're like Bob Ross," and it's like, I think that's a good thing, but I'm not quite sure. So, but no, I appreciate that. Let's see. This is the thingy that I cut off of. I'm just trying to find. Okay, I'm not sure this little trick's going to work in this instance because we have very little actual common centerline stuff to work with on this shell, except for apparently on the bottom, which is kind of a bummer. Hello from a fellow Nathan. Oh, awesome. Nice to know another Nathan, always. I ran 4S LiPo after the replace of motors. At least Nerf Boy said he did. He kind of lost me at that one. Heading out. See you later, man. Good luck with all of these. Thank you very much, Brickley. Thanks for stopping by. And good luck with all of your projects. Jubal Jolt says, keep it going. J-Ro says, buy Prickly's Nerf mods. I'm good. Got lots of time. All right. Carlos, keep it going. Nerfs, thank you very much. In hospital, have nowhere else to be. Will get better. I mean, I hope it's not a traumatic or life-threatening situation you're in. Happy to keep watching. Don't say that, Bob. Okay, well, let's go for, let's do it a half hour. Somebody in the chat, let me know when it's been a half hour from this point right now. And then whatever the heck's going on, even if we're making great progress, I'm going to shut it off. So, okay, where are we at? This isn't going to work, but it's a cool idea. I'll probably discuss that in a later video because I do like the concept. So, okay. Will do. All right, thanks guys for getting my back. So, I do need to trim off more of this guy. I do want to. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way and just match the shelves at the same time. So. Okay, what I'm looking at here is, come on now, we have this solid line from the inside of the shell, which we know is consistent. This is just the actual depth of the blaster or whatever, and they should be the same on both sides. So we can, I'm just kind of gauging the distance here and how it relates to the outside of this shell, because we can kind of use that as a guide, because this line seems to be consistent all the way through. So if it's consistent up here, because when you remove this much of the shell, you end up with a lot of this going on, so you don't know quite what the relationship is to where it's like, you know, you squeeze this in here and you're not quite sure, okay, is the Thunderhawk pushing out the Mastodon and so it appears too wide, or what is the actual relationship? So if we can figure out here where it's all rigid and fitting correctly, we can decide how this, the inside of this shell relates to the outside of this shell, because we know both planes are consistent. So if it matches up here, it should match up down here, and if there's issues, then we have clearance things going on somewhere else. Which we do know for sure, because we know that this guy is causing issues here. So part of me feeling bothered is... Okay, just kind of eyeballing here. Uber, thanks for the advice, Mr. Nathan. Have a good one and see you around. Yes, thank you very much for stopping by and asking questions. It's nice to, it's nice to hear people honestly asking questions about integrating, because it is kind of a weird art, you might say, and it scares a lot of people. So it's nice to hear people asking honest questions and gathering information, because once they're armed with that information, it makes the whole concept of integrating a lot less daunting, and they're more apt to try it. And once you try it, it's like, okay, it's actually not that bad. It's just weird, and it's just a bunch of processes that you have to get familiar with. So, awesome, and best of luck to your future nerfing, and maybe we'll see you around again sometime. Okay, one quick issue is, like I said, we have this common plane, but yet when you reach this character line at the back, I left a little bit of material that sticks out. So we won't have this whole true line, but that's kind of okay because, well, we lose it there. So, Chris saying, name this blaster the Nathan and include your logo with light up feature. This has actually already been named. This is the Warthog, which I felt was very appropriate, but it might include my logo somewhere. I don't know about a light up feature on this. I hadn't actually gotten to the gimmicks yet on this one. I'm focused more on just the building the body so far. Okay, so there is a bit of difference side to side, because this side has the battery tray, this side has the dumb mega thing, and so it does affect the actual shape and details of the actual aesthetics of the body. So just kind of eyeballing stuff. This here comes through, and I guess that matches too, but we have to have this part because of the battery tray. So we need to remain somewhat consistent on that part of things. So that may be an issue. I hope not. There again, I moved my tools around when I cleaned, and now I can't find anything. Where's my... You don't belong over there, silly. Warthog, oink. Wait, no, it's a pig. Technically, a warthog is still a hog, a wild hog. Haven't been around them personally. I suppose they make piggish noises, only much more burlier and boisterous, I reckon. But I am not a zoologist or whatever. I don't know crap about animals. Don't know, it looks more like a puma. It's a very strange puma. If that looks like a puma. You must have weird pumas in your crevices. If that's what pumas look like where you come from. Sorry, for those of you wondering about pumas and crevices, it was an old Smothers Brothers joke that they used once in a while. Smothers Brothers being a old musical comedy duo. But, okay, so there again, this is why I don't like working with asymmetrical shells, because it just ruins everything for everybody. So, there's just a few little bugs on the inside of the shell here from, I don't know, probably something that had to do something with what I already cut out. So okay. Okay, I'm going to change my Dremel. Do I want to? No, I'll just chew in. Never mind. Can't be bothered. Okay, Dremel time again. Where have I found my safety glasses? Homely, how you doing? Smothers Brothers were great, and the story of why they ended the show was pretty good too. I really like Smothers Brothers. I prefer their old stuff more. I have a handful of their records and stuff like that. When they quit the show, that was when they got political. I got the actually have season, I think the '69 season on DVD, and it was a bit political for my taste, just because it was focused mostly on political stuff and not just funny stuff. They quit the show when crap, was it Nixon? The president at the time, they were pretty rough on, and the president was like, "Stop being mean to me," and so they got mad, and then they stopped because they kept getting in trouble or something. I can't remember. Need to bone up on my Smothers history, I guess. It's a side joke from Red vs. Blue. Oh, you kids and your pop culture references that I don't understand. You think my phone is going off? Good heavens. Let's take a look at that. I can't check things when my phone is currently streaming and stuff. But I don't know anybody. My folks are out of town, and my wife is out of town, and nobody else wants to talk to me anyway, so I don't know who the heck it could be. Anyway, I'm going to put them on hold anyway. Okay, Dremel time again. It's about the vehicle in Halo. Ah, gotcha. Never played the game, but I knew kids who did. Remember that was the hip thing when I was in high school. Kids were like, yeah, we're going to so-and-so's house, can I have a Halo party? And everybody would bring their things and hook them up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go work on my car. Which is kind of like my whole story of high school. It's like, you going to prom? And I'm like, no, I'm putting my exhaust system on. It's going to be great. Okay, you come across things like this where we have screw port in the Thunderhawk and screw port for Mastodon. We'd say, who's the most important? Unless we want to have them both. But we have a conflict here where we can cut this one out and use this guy. Or we can cut this guy off and just use this guy over here. So, part of me says, I like this one here because it fits nicely with the whole, it fits nicely, it'll look nice on the shell when it's done. This also part of me says, I like having a screw port here right next to the screw here because when you move the screw around, it's not going to distort the plastic. So, I'm a thinking, what I might do is go ahead and trim this guy off. So I'm just going to trim off the back end, just the actual screw port itself, off there. So, Uber Jolts, see ya! Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. And come see us again sometime. Thanks for stopping.